Yeah, I'm a bit of a gamer. It's a stupid joke. So, today we are talking about how to defeat a Demon King in 10 easy steps. I picked this up just kind of on a whim. It got recommended to me. The premise sounded interesting, and I ended up reading through this bad boy in one sitting because, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I could not put it down. I just had to keep going. The author, Andrew Rowe, just kept surprising me, kept making me laugh, just kept me engaged the entire time. But what is this book about? This is a book that is kind of a love letter to video games. I'm going to describe it in a very specific way that some of you may understand. Basically, the premise of this is that we are in the world of Legend of Zelda in some way. Ganondorf has resurrected and is taking over the world, and Link has not resurrected yet. So now, an NPC basically takes on the role of becoming the hero and defeating Ganondorf. If you're the same brand of nerd that I am, that makes total sense to you, and you may be sold on that concept just from that. If you're not the same brand of nerd that I am, let me explain a little bit more. In this world, every 100 years, the Demon King resurrects and attempts to take over the world. But a hero, known as the true hero, also is born, and after so long, 100 years after the Demon King starts to conquer the world, a hero is born to raise up and fight the Demon King, defeat the Demon King, and the cycle begins anew. This time, however, the Demon King has advanced much faster than previous Demon Kings have, and the hero is still nowhere to be seen. So, our main character, Yui, decides, hey, we're not going to wait for the hero. I'm going to go and fight the Demon King. I'm going to go and try to do all the things that the heroes of previous generations have done, and I'm going to go do. And that's the basic premise for this. I don't really want to get too much more into that right now. I'm just going to say flat out, I think that this is a book that deserves to be dived into as blind as possible, because oh boy, it's so much fun. So much wacky stuff happens. So much crazy stuff happens in here that I don't want to spoil a single plot point. I think that you should go into this as blind as possible and just enjoy the ride, because that is what this book is all about. Enjoy this ride. It is a fun time. All the characters are really enjoyable, especially the main character, Yui. She is so cool because of just her no-nonsense. We're not waiting for a hero. Who's to say we can't be our own heroes and go forth and have some agency in our own lives? Why do we have to wait for someone else to come and save us? We could save ourselves. And that's really cool. Just to see her sheer grit and determination, and knowing that she is scared and terrified and isn't sure that she will succeed, but still just someone's got to do it, and we can't wait for someone to do it, so we do it ourselves. Very inspirational, very well-written character. Her companion, Ken, who is like a priest swordsman type character, he's also very funny because he is kind of much more straight-laced and thinks, okay, I am a man of God, and the goddesses have set up this cycle of the hero, and he is like a traditionalist in this. So anytime they come up against a challenge that a hero would typically go through, he would go like, typically, what the hero would do here is this and this and this, and then Yui is just like, I got another way to do it, though. And I don't want to spoil any of those, because they're always funny. So I'm just going to say right now, if that sounds fun to you, give this book a read. I will get into a bit of spoilers and talk about some things a bit more in depth here, but I'm just going to say right now, if this book sounds interesting to you, stop watching now and go read it so that you can be charmed and delighted at everything. From here on out, I'm going to talk more about the plot. I'm going to spoil some of the fun little surprises that I just really need to gush about because, oh my gosh, this book was so much fun. Specifically, if you are the type of person who likes Legend of Zelda. Specifically, if you're the type of person that likes Legend of Zelda, you're going to like this book, I think. But if you are in the Venn diagram of people that are Legend of Zelda fans and Dragon Quest fans like I am, oh, you're going to have so much fun with this book. because those are the main two inspirations for this world that Andrew has created. It is taking Legend of Zelda, Dragon Quest, and just... it's incredible. I love this book. So, going into talking a bit more about some things that I really loved. Again, I'm mostly just raving about this book as opposed to reviewing it. I just need to talk about it. So one of the really fun things right off the bat is that early on in the book, Yui and Ken, instead of taking a huge risk, go out and fight silver slimes. And you know, I know Dragon Quest, I know these are basically metal slime equivalents. And I think so many people who have played Dragon Quest will find this relatable, because how do you grind in Dragon Quest? You hunt metal slimes, which are legally distinct from silver slimes. And that's just fun. We just have a little arc where they're just silver slime hunting like any Dragon Quest player would do. One of the really funny things is that Yui takes on the class of a bag mage, which is basically just a way for her to exploit the inventory system that you would typically get in video games. She's like, we need the sacred sword to do damage to the Demon King at some point. How do we get the sacred sword? This thing is locked in a pedestal and cannot be drawn unless the person who draws it has the true hero class. And the true hero isn't here. How do we get it? She gets the bag mage class, and she walks up to the sword, she places her hand on it, and she just says, inventory. And she just tries to use inventory magic to just take the sacred sword and place it in her bag. And that's one of the really fun things, is that it's so creative. It felt like watching a streamer who's really good at a specific game just find ways to break the game. Yui and Ken are presented with so many problems that they need to solve, and Yui just finds ways with her specific toolkit of this interdimensional space to just circumvent all the problems. Which is really fun to me, because, you know, that's kind of how it is in video games a lot of the times, where it's like you have to do it this way and then solve it this way and then solve it that way. But real life is a bit more complicated than that, and there's not necessarily one single right way to solve a problem. With a bit of creativity, you can circumvent a lot of things. And Yui just is a perfect showcase of ingenuity and taking the toolkit that you have and doing some pretty cool things with it. One of the things I think that made me really fall in love with this book is that Andrew is so clearly inspired by these stories and these games and these worlds and is passionate about them, and that came through so clearly whenever they went through the first dungeon. They went to the forest temple, or the wood temple rather, in this. And as someone who has played Zelda 1 several times, and has played every Legend of Zelda game at least 2 or 3 times, the way that he described in this book going through the wood temple and describing all of the enemies within, all of the puzzles that needed to be solved, I just got vivid images in my head of playing Zelda 1 and going through a dungeon, right down to fighting the boss of the dungeon, and it just filled me with such a sense of nostalgia and childlike wonder and glee. And this is all stuff that I think you would really only appreciate if you are a fan of Zelda and Dragon Quest. No, more Zelda than Dragon Quest, but there's also a lot of Dragon Quest DNA in there. It's not a story I could recommend to everyone. Like, I don't think I'd hand this book to like my mom and think that she would have a good time with it. But I would definitely recommend this to my brother, because he and I are really big on Legend of Zelda. It very much is a situational thing. I don't think everyone will like this book, but I think that if you like this book, you'll like this book. It's definitely one that I'll be coming back to time and time again whenever I think about really good reads, and something that I'll just want to return to and read time and time again. Really fell in love with this thing. I just had to get my thoughts out about it because, again, I read it in one sitting, It was all I did yesterday was just read this book, and I just needed to gush about it. If you haven't heard of this, pick it up, check it out, especially, again, if you're like a gamer, a Zelda fan, Dragon Quest fan of RPGs. There's a lot of inspiration from fantasy video games and that media within this. So if you're a fan of any of that, you got to check this out. Those are just my quick thoughts on it. Again, not really a review. I'm just raving about this. I haven't let it sit and digest long enough to have like critical thought about it. I just really wanted to rave about it and make sure that as many people know about this as possible, because I want more. I want more from this. This is fantastic. Those are just my thoughts on it. If you have heard of this book already and you've read it, let me know your thoughts. I would love to have people to talk to about it and gush more. So those are just my thoughts. Tell me your thoughts down below if you have read it. Do you plan on reading it based on what I've said? And get that conversation going in the comments. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.